I hear kitty. Yep.
All right, so, all right, here we go. Pencil in, I guess, right?
Well,
or that was the foxhole one.
That was the foxhole one.
And we are back, and I just want to say welcome to everybody out there. You're watching Amateur Radio Roundtable, and I'm Tom, W5KUB, right here. If you don't know me, we got the whole gang here with us tonight and some special guests, and boy, it's going to be a great show. In fact, I'm a little worried about tonight. We've got so much packed in tonight. We're going to try to keep it rolling fast, but we got so much in here tonight. We got Michael Kalter from Hamvention. We got Alan with Tech Tips. Glenn. We got Katie to control Glenn. We got Katie doing a couple of shack pictures. We're going to be giving a Hambot, even though Hambot has gone in retirement. He's going to come out and try to help. We're going to give away an HF antenna every week for about 8 weeks here. Bill and I are going to talk about our next pico balloon launch. And I forgot something. I don't know what I forgot, but I don't know. Also, our friend astronaut Doug Wheelock, we were in communications today, and Doug tells me any Tuesday he's ready to come on a show. So we may make next week astronaut day or something on a show. I don't know. So we'll see if we have Doug next week or maybe the week after that. So a lot going on. Let me just remind everybody here, we've gone more to a YouTube format. I need everybody out there to hit the subscribe button. You got to hit the subscribe button. It helps us. But best of all, hit that like button. Hit the like button because that increases our ratings. And we've never promoted our show as a YouTube channel, but we need to start doing it now because we've been missing out on so many people. Once we converted 2 weeks ago, the show numbers have been like doubling every week. So we want to keep that going. Let's see, something else I was going to mention. If you're out there listening on international shortwave on 7490 on WBCQ, you're listening to it right now, and it's Thursday between 5 and 7 p.m. on Thursday. You're listening to this show. This show is actually live on the internet. If you have the internet and you're around on Tuesday night, you can join our show just by going to YouTube and key in W5KUB, and it'll take you right to the show. You can also go to W5KUB.com like you've always done in the past and click on chat and live video, and that will take you to the same place. So, hey, again, a lot going on tonight. We appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. What did I forget? Glenn, Katie, anybody? I forgot something. Now,
Probably.
Jason's the expert. Jason, what do I need to tell him to do?
I think you got it, man. Like and subscribe.
Yeah,
Yep.
like and subscribe. Okay, yeah, okay. Well, look, hey, let's jump around here and see what's going on. Well, hey, we got Jason up first. Anyway, how you doing, man? You were not here last week.
No, I was on the island last week, and the internet down there is kind of iffy.
Yeah.
So we did a live stream. We did a live stream on New Year's Eve from my house, and I invited a couple other people in, but I turned the resolution way down, so it looked okay.
Yeah.
We just had fun, and we rang in the New Year for Eastern time, Central time, and Mountain time, and I didn't have enough energy to stay up for California time. But it was a fun time. We had 6 or 7 of us.
Great,
on there. It
great.
was all good. But I'm back now and happy to be here tonight.
All right. Well, great. And hopefully you brought in a good New Year. We're ready for that. Yeah, ready for that. Okay.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Michael has to say tonight.
Yeah, all right. Hey, Katie. Jump in there, Katie.
Tom.
What are you doing, Katie? How you doing?
I'm doing great.
There's Katie.
Here I am.
All right.
Hi, everybody. Special shout out to my friend Melanie, who just logged in and watched. So glad you could be here tonight. I'm excited to hear what Michael has to share as well. And I played a little bit on FT8 again the other day and racked up another, 20 QSOs or so, but forgot to have upload the log. So if anybody's out there watching and wondering why they haven't gotten a confirmed QSO, it's because I stink. But I'll get it done tonight. So.
and you and Wayne have put in a new mixer, and you fixed your audio hum.
Yes, we bought a new mix. Well, he bought a new mixer because obviously we couldn't figure out what was wrong. And honestly, we could have paid like $60 to buy a new power supply or spend a little bit more and just get a whole new mixer. So this way, and I think honestly, because he got tired of trying to figure it out. So it was easier.
Yeah. All right.
So I think we're back in business as long as I don't
It sounds good.
get too excited.
You're doing good there. And is Dwayne operating, or does he just kind of...
He is.
Does he just sit that and act like he's working back there? He's there every night.
Yeah, he's on 160 meters right now, FT8. So if anybody needs Wyoming,
wow,
go look for a WI7FD.
It's like the one station in Wyoming and actually on 160 meters.
Yeah, there's not a lot of
there's
us.
not many out there, is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what I was going to tell you also. Wait, hush. Oh,
I've
what?
got 5 first place 160 Wyoming contract.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We, last week I think I told you how we were working on getting our new club organized up here. And I saw Nisi in the chat. Hi, Nisi. And, we've been talking about this forever about getting something going in our local area because we've got like 50 some odd hams just in our little county alone. And so over the Christmas break, we wrote up our letter and they got put out in the mail, and we've got a date set for later this month to do our first gathering online just to see what kind of interest we have. And then we're starting to think about what kind of topics we can have, especially for in-person things. Like we have so many people that have never even been on the air yet. So going to start with a lot of the basics, but we're getting pretty excited to get that up and running. So hopefully that'll yield us some new active hams here in Wyoming, and we'll see where it goes. So yeah, pretty excited. Some good stuff happening lately.
All right, cool. And we've got a special shack picture that we're gonna do in a little while.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I want to mention something. Let me get my paper here, my log from today. I don't know if he's in the chat room or not, or watching the show, but let's see, who was it? Here we W8CI Howard down in Florida. He's a retired pediatric surgeon. He checked in the net tonight and said we were his very first. He's 82 years old. We were his very first contact on 40.
Cool.
So anyway, I said I'll do a shout out to you tonight, Howard. We're glad to have you, man. If you're in the chat room, I don't know if you're in there or not, Howard. If you're in the chat room, say hello. But that was kind of cool tonight, and I don't know. We always run into some cool people like that. Okay. Well, everybody in the chat room is wanting to work Wyoming. So, Katie, they need you. They need you on all on other modes like FT8.
Yeah.
All right. Let's jump out to hey, Alan. How you doing, man?
Hey. Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. It's a rough week so far. I was on vacation for 2.5 weeks. Kind of tough coming back after not having the work computer on for 2.5 weeks and digging through hundreds of emails and trying to get caught up. So almost caught up, not quite. So anyway, good to be here. Nice to meet you there, Michael. We haven't met before. And we should have a fun little, relatively short tech tips later on. That's actually replaying one of the videos I did over the weekend, kind of a popular topic of SWR and coax length and all that stuff. So we'll talk about that later on.
All right, well, that's cool. All right, very good. Okay, let's see. Bill Brown, you there, Bill? Where's Bill?
Yes, indeed.
I hear him. There he is. There he is right there. Okay. How you doing, Bill? You been busy?
Oh, just working on programming some new features for your next balloon flight.
All right, good. Hey, I sent a couple of guys to you the last day or so. They were wanting to get a tracker and maybe hooked them up. I don't know, but we're getting real excited, man. Now, is NASA, are you going into the office or are you still working from home?
Oh, well, we're still working from home. There are a few of us still out on the going out to the center that have to be out there for the testing labs and such. But, they have to keep their distance and wear all the proper masks and everything. But it's just a small fraction of the total workforce. So we're mostly working from home, which is great. I don't mind not having that commute. I get an extra 2 hours a day each day to work on your balloon software.
Okay. All right. Something happened here.
You've got me as a small insert.
Something happened. So let's see if we can remedy that.
Now we're really seeing the behind the scenes thing.
That's right.
All right. We have a slight studio malfunction. Everybody stand by. Anybody know anybody at NASA?
Now I'm really tiny.
Does anybody know anybody at NASA? Because we've got a real issue here.
Yeah. Collierville, we have a problem.
Houston, we have a problem.
Man, oh man, oh man. Hang on a second.
Jason, you run YouTube shows. Do you know what's wrong?
Hang on.
I'm pretty sure that's a Zoom issue, not YouTube.
Oh, okay.
No, I think it was a Wirecast issue.
Wirecast.
Sometimes some of these buttons get a mind of their own, and they don't really give you what is labeled on the button sometimes. Okay.
It's like the end of the show you used to put up with the cat.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Bill, to interrupt you during all that, but I thought we were going to have a national disaster there for a second. Man. Okay.
William's like, you have your YouTube window showing.
Well, Bill, we'll have more time to talk here in a little while, Bill. And let's see now.
All right, sounds great.
Glenn, let's jump to Glenn real quick. Glenn.
Hey, there I am, full screen.
Yeah.
There you are. There you are, Glenn.
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Hey, man. Now you've got something coming up this weekend. Some kind of video interview or something.
Yeah. The FaceDoc group that I reviewed their unit last year is doing a YouTube live interview with me, the Fools, this coming Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and it's at the FaceDoc Facebook group. Will be the access to it.
Now you posted it in our Facebook group, the W5KUB. So can people join you if they just click on that?
Yeah, because we're going to have live chat and discussion and everything, and of course we'll have the monsters on display.
Okay.
And, they have assured me that there will be no way that we're even going to attempt to keep it on the rails.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's going to be everything Arduino and just a lot of fun.
All right. Well, great. I'm going to try to attend that myself.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. It really should.
All right. Am I missing anybody on here except Michael? We got a full house tonight.
Let's get to our guest of honor.
Didn't call your name. Let's get to the guest of honor.
Put him first.
Let's get to our guest of honor now. Let's get the show rocking here. Let's bring in Michael Kalter, W8CI. And Michael, I guess you're still on the board of directors for DARA, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm on the board of directors. I am a financial officer. I take care of legal issues, and I'm on our which we would call the small. We have a small group, the hamvention executive committee, that makes basically all the big decisions. And but I'm just a volunteer in flyover country.
And you're also, I guess, the official spokesperson for hamvention, is that right?
That's true. Yeah,
okay.
I am. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Somebody's got to be a target every now and then. So.
Yeah. All right. So, hey, tell us, just spill the beans, man.
Right.
What do you got to tell us about this year, 2021?
I'm going to start off, first recognizing and thanking all of our 700 plus volunteers. They don't get a dime for doing this. They do all kinds of stuff. I mean, from the real grunt jobs that there is to whatever it takes to get it done. And it starts, we've already been well into the planning process. We start right after the last one and we'll right into the event. And everybody works hard on it. And like I said, nobody makes a dime, nobody. So we're real happy about that. But hello to all my volunteer buddies out there, guys and gals. And also, I want to mention really quickly, next Monday night, there should be a pretty good game on television when the Ohio State Buckeyes play Alabama. So I know you all got to be, raging Ohio State fans like I am. But I have, all right. I like that, Bill. So anyway, I wanted to mention that and wanted to thank the folks at WBCQ who run that shortwave program. That's a really important thing that needs to be done and is done. And those are all the kind of the unsung things like all of you do for amateur radio. So it's such a great hobby and seeing people do so much. And also, if you're out there who's a pediatric surgeon, my uncle, one of my uncles, Dr. Alan Schaefer, was a pediatric surgeon. It seemed like all these guys knew each other. But he's passed on. He's a little bit older than you were, but you may have met him. All right. Almost so much for that. I figured that I could stretch for a second there. I want to, the big question is, well, are you really going to have a hamvention? But right now, I want to say that Rick, W8CI, our general chairman, he'll be our general chairman this year and next year. He is a medical doctor as well as has a master's in electrical engineering and a master's in public health. He's watching this pretty close. Oh, Bill, love your hat. Those of you can't see, he's got the Ohio State ad on.
I decided to.
I almost lost my train.
I decided to wear a hat in honor of Ohio here. So Bill, when you get to hamvention, see me personally. I'll fix you up with something good. So, in honor of that, you got to. Anyway, getting back to where I was, that really kind of took my breath away there, you doing that. Big question, what about hamvention? And, it's something that we look at every single day in terms of, and you wouldn't believe, some of this, I know I worked on it today, the hamvention items, meetings tomorrow, not large meetings, but, we'll meet like with the Fairgrounds Expo Center. And couple of things I want to get out on the table right now is that we made no decisions to cancel it. And, we would, give people plenty of notice if we decide to do that. We still have 5 months to the event. However, things aren't taking a very good, they aren't taking a turn for the better yet. And we certainly want that to happen because it wouldn't be fair to, all the people, all of our stakeholders that we have out there. And I mean by the stakeholders, all the vendors that come and all the people that work for those vendors. We want to give them, if we have to cancel it, enough time so they're not buying a bunch of extra plane tickets and making all these reservations. It could cost money for them to cancel. And that certainly weighs on our mind. The safety is safety of their people, of all our guests. We're looking at that very closely. I will tell you that I have a little bit of an in, is that I have two daughters that work in the medical fields, both
One has a family practice outside of Washington, D.C., and another one is an infectious disease doctor at The Ohio State University. And she keeps me pretty well informed, and she helped me kind of see the future last year when we all decided that we needed to cancel hamvention. So right now, we don't have any announcement or anything like that we're gonna close, but or cancel. We certainly want to have it, but we want to make sure that it's a 5-star event, and we don't want to risk anybody's health and safety. And I want to get that out clear. So once the timing and when you'll know if we're going to have it or not, I said by the middle of February, we have to make a decision, because we have to give people time to plan what's going to happen, like we did last year. We were a little bit later than that last year. I think we were in very early March. But I want to mention a couple things that are going to go on that we're still going to do. And I'm looking yet for applications for our awards segment. And that is the Club of the Year, the Amateur of the Year, the Technical Achievement Award, and the Special Achievement Award. You know, it's pretty easy to fill that out. Like to see some good supporting evidence. Usually what we like to see is for amateur radio winners, it's the greatest good for the largest amount of hams. You know, it is not just having the biggest antenna in Wyoming. And I'm sorry, you hate to do that to you in Wyoming, but but it is, what kind of difference does it make to amateur radio? So I certainly hope that you all take the time to, if you know somebody, just fill out the application. You'd be surprised that the great applications that we get, and we work really, really hard on it. And we really try to vet to be sure that, hey, are these people who they say they are? Or you know, and generally, actually, I've known quite a few of them, but and it's almost a no-brainer. I'm not the only one who decides. We have a small group, although I'm a co-chair on that. And we have a little checklist that we do for each one of them. And so please think about making the application. Tom Medlin, have you ever known anybody to win one of those awards?
Well, I've got to think back a minute, but I do have one right here. I have to show it. You know, look at this. Look at this, guys.
He's got it right next to his image.
You probably can't see it. Let's see if I can. Well, it's invisible.
I can kind of see it.
It's invisible. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's
not
okay.
going to work.
It's okay.
Not going to work, is it? Let's see. Let me try this. It's just not going to work.
It's not going to work either.
So
just read it to them real quick.
So that's what
Read
you
it.
get. You get an invisible award.
Read it to everybody.
No, I'm not going to read it.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm not going to read it.
No, go ahead, Tom.
Come on.
No. Michael can tell us what it says. That was the special achievement. That was a special achievement there.
You know, one of the things, I met Tom a long time ago in the flea market, and he used to try to run his show in a flea market. And you know, when I became chairman, I moved him inside because I thought his work was really, really important. And he's really kept it up, and he does an awful lot of communications. And, you know, especially in this day and age when we're under the quarantine, you know, and he brings this wonderful show, and he's very positive about amateur radio. We all need to continue to be positive about amateur radio. I know in my position, you know, there's a lot of people don't like things about hamvention, but I think that's true in all of you that are leaders. Probably, Jason, you probably get that from time to time. People don't like this and that, but you know, I like reading. If I'm on a QRZ page and I get a bunch of comments one way or the other about something, I enjoy reading them, good or bad, because it kind of lets me know where people are. Oh man, I love that hat too. So at any rate, I've adopted the slogan as basically we just take a slamming and keep on hamming, and I think that we all sort of have to do that. So I also want to mention my good friends at Hamcation. They had, of course, they had to cancel their event, and they're going to do a QSO party, and they're going to do a virtual Hamcation. So please check that out.
And
on
Michael,
the website, check that out. Support them.
And they will be, Michael, they'll be with us next week on the show. They'll be here next week.
Oh, okay.
To talk about it.
Great guys. Yeah, John and Michael are really good guys, and
are they in the chat?
Yeah, they're in the chat tonight too. So hi,
cool,
guys.
Cool.
Okay. But there's a lot of people think well, it's hamvention versus Hamcation versus Huntsville versus Japan and pre-reshuffling. I know all the people that run all those things, and we share ideas, and we all have the same goals, and that is to put on a good show, to put on a really good, we call ours a gathering now at Hamvention. Because if you look back in the days of old, people would come out of the mountains or wherever they were in the world, and they would come down and they would trade, and they would have basically their booths and they would trade for things, and they would trade their wares. And that's the same thing that we do on a much more technical scale, and we share ideas. I know when we started 1952 in the Biltmore Hotel, and I was just 2 years old, but I remember that we used to have, the biggest thing was the forums that we used to have there. I wasn't really there at 2 years old, but I have definitely studied all of that. So, and I want to say hello to the Huntsville guys, and I also want to give a heartfelt condolences to our friends at HamCon. That had to be one of the most difficult decisions to have to close that down after so many years. And, actually they're right. I don't think people think that, I get these questions, what in the world does DARA do with all this tremendous amount of money they make at Hamvention? Well, you can look and see how many organizations that we support, how many free booths that we've given away, how many scholarships, I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars, but it's all because we consider ourselves a pillar of amateur radio. Like Jason and the YouTuber guys, they're a pillar of amateur radio. They're bringing information, every week. Should I buy this? Should I buy that? And what do I think about this? What do I think about that? And you put yourself on a line every time you do that, hoping that you got it right. And Tom, I mean, you're the same way. You're out there and you're trying to have these shows, and people can second guess you. But, it's the backseat drivers don't know the feel of the wheel, but they sure know how to make a fuss. Also, I want to open it up for any questions that you have. I really appreciate that chance to get on your program and say hello to everybody. And I do I wonder if anybody got on 40 meters much later this afternoon, because to me, it was spectacular, at least from near Xenia, Ohio. It was especially around when the gray line passed through. Anyway, were there any questions in the chat room?
Yeah, there's one.
Right,
let's see. Here's a question from Joe. Are you going to still have the outside tent exhibit, or has the number of inside exhibitors reduced so everybody can be indoors?
Okay, we are still looking at that. We have a contract out with the outside tent company right now. But I mean, things could change. But right now, there's a lot of people that are very, very, there's a lot of interest in Hamvention right now. We just got to get past this stuff. So there's no decision we're not going to have it. I'll say that, and that we've got a contract for it.
Well, I would think, Michael, that even if you do have Hamvention, there's going to be some people that are still, it's early, there'll be some people still afraid to come up there, especially older people. And, a large majority of the hams that come there are old guys like me, But I would assume that your attendance could be a little lower this year, and I guess what you will do, even if you put that tent up, I guess you'll try to fill the inside spaces first, won't you? Did you?
Well, they're different, probably so, but realize they're different prices. So,
yeah, I got you. Yeah,
you know, you can get it. Yeah, I mean, it's all how you look at it. It's you know, we have to, you know, we got to figure it out to the square foot and to the number of booths. How much money do we really need to get to cover the cost of this stuff? I mean, renting a big tent and setting it up is not cheap. So,
right.
But at any rate, as time goes on, there'll be more and more information, but I just want to, you know, plant the seed in everybody's head. But I also want people to know that, you know, it's not about we want to do hamvention and make a bunch of money. We do hamvention because that's what we do. So any other questions? Anybody?
Yeah, it's a major planning deal for you guys. You guys start planning the next one 1 year ahead of time. So I'm sure you have a lot of dates that you have cutoff dates by, and because you have to make decisions and there's financial decisions. What do you think the latest date would be where you guys make a go or no go decision? Will it be 1st of April or would it be March maybe?
Well, I think it'd be like May the 5th.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
I was going to say that'd be pretty close, man. That would be. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I will tell you that we are looking at the very latest by the end of February.
Yeah.
We do lots of dates. We have lots of contingencies. We have a lot of numbers we look at. It's a big major event. I mean, it's a huge event to put on, and you know, we surpassed 32,000 in 2019. The last time we had one of these, it was a great event. It was wonderful. And everybody there, I think, had a really good time. Maybe not, but I did. And most people I talked to really loved it. And we try every year, even from the food. You know, the food is so much better. And we're looking at new vendors. I mean, really good vendors for food. At any rate, if we decide we have to cancel it, that information will get out very quickly. And I'll call you, Tom, let you know.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Michael.
Well, go ahead, Bill.
Yeah. Basically, if that decision is made, that things aren't going well as far as the vaccine being distributed, but if that decision is made, are there any contingency plans to do the forums online or have any kind of an online Zoom presence or some online events in lieu of live person?
Those are in the talking stages, but right now we're planning on having an event, and we would have to shift gears and take a look at that if we would do that. You know, the other thing is there's so many virtual events that go on. You know, last year we did the QSO party, and I loved the QSO party. I thought it was wonderful, and had some good help on that. But yeah, people like the forums, but I also have to keep in mind that last year, when hamvention was going to take place in Xenia, Ohio, the temperature was 72 degrees and it was sunny and a slight breeze. Perfect day out. A hard day to sit inside at a computer all day. So, you know, a lot of things we take into consideration. But Bill, thanks for that. Man, you got any more magic hats? Go ahead and put them on.
I'm a man of many hats.
Many hats.
I've got like a collection of hamvention hats throughout the years. Let's see, there's one. I don't even know what years these are from. I think this might have been 2019, but I'm not sure. Maybe it was this one. And then I've got this one.
Well, you can look in your. I'll tell you how you can find out. If you look in the program and you look at our group picture, you'll see what color hats we got on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good, good. So this one's Ohio State colors, which I really like. This.
And you know, I have collected.
That's exactly why we went with that hat and those colors. That's exactly it.
I don't know how you keep all those hats. I have had many collections of hats, and when our hats get up to about 50, my wife gives away about 40 of them, you know, and then I start the collection over again. So
One thing that nobody really knows is that Bill has a death wish. He lives in Alabama and is wearing that Ohio State hat.
Now, when Ohio State played Alabama the last time, I wore this hat into a sports bar in Coleman, Alabama, surrounded by at least 50 avid Alabama fans. And when Ohio State won, my girlfriend grabbed me by the arm and says, "Bill, I'm going to save your life," and drug me out of there, whisked me out as quickly as possible. So I don't know if I'm going to risk my life this year. Thankfully, COVID is going to limit gatherings like that, so I don't have to risk my life in an Alabama bar surrounded by, I think it's a wise move not to do that this year.
All right, Michael, tell us, Michael, there's a question from Mary. What's the theme for this year? Now, you guys have picked a theme out, I think.
Yeah, it's based on a Wizard of Oz song called "If I Only Had a Brain."
Yeah.
Oh, I would have gone with "I Will Survive."
I'm just kidding.
I know.
I'm just kidding. It is called The Gathering. The Gathering. And I think if you look on our webpage, and I also want to point people to that webpage, www.hamvention.org. It is a guide chock full of information. And I do want to say, if you have questions that you want to ask me, I'm good on QRZ. I put my, I think all my contact information's there. So I throw myself out to the amateur radio world to be trampled at times, but that's what we do. So,
Michael,
anything else?
I've attended just about every hamvention since 1969. I've only missed a couple in that time frame, and it has always been well run and unbelievable. But I really like the new Xenia Fairgrounds, the Greene County Fairgrounds site with the new food. That food is tremendous, and it's like going to a county fair, which it is, filled with nothing but ham radio. So that's wonderful. It's a great venue. My hat's off to the Hamvention for that move to Xenia, because I know that was quite an effort to find a location suitable for such a big event. So, and I'm planning to go ahead with the Balloon Sat Forum that I've been talking to your forums committee, and they do a wonderful job of organizing all the forums. And I'm looking forward to being there. So I'm sure, hoping upon hope that we're able to hold it live this year.
All right, Michael.
Yeah, me too.
What else?
Yes.
Can you share any other secrets with us?
Secrets.
Any other secrets? Yeah.
Why would you think I would have a secret? There are no secrets that I have that you don't know yet. I'm on here, just trying to give you very much the truth.
All right.
What I don't like to do. Wait, let me finish. I don't want to ride a fence. None of us do, because the old Wyoming trail wisdom is, if you ride the fence, you're going to get splinters. So don't want to ride the fence. We'll make a decision now. I also want to say, just give me a second, Tom. I'll be almost done. That we really, our whole team of 700 plus volunteers is really striving for a 5-star event. We want it to be as good as it can be. And, especially for a bunch of volunteers. That's all I had to say. And Alan, I don't really know you, but I read your QRZ page, most impressive. So I believe you can use all that equipment that you got behind you in the picture. Anyway, 73 to everybody. Thank you so much for having me on your program. And just stay on the radio, stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Michael, for being with us, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Michael, for everything you and you guys do. I love Xenia.
All right, guys. Let's see what's next on our agenda for the show tonight. Who took notes before the show started? Let's see. Katie, you want to do your? Let's do that. Let's do the shack pictures. You want to do that, Katie?
Sure. I thought you were going to ask me to take notes. I'm like, what, the token girl here?
No, I'm not going to ask you to take notes.
Afterwards.
Oh, Jesus, you scared me. Hold on, I gotta find my email. Oh, there it is.
Wait a minute. After all those years and he still scares you?
Yeah.
That's not good.
Well, if he
guys,
may,
the
if he
other
gets
day
a
I was running a
haircut,
Radicon.
he
Hold
might
on.
he might stop scaring you if you get a haircut, right?
Yeah, I don't want him to get a haircut.
Okay.
What?
The other day, I'm working the Reedy contest, and I'm hard and heavy into it. And she comes in the shack and gave me a pure heart attack. I had no idea she was in the shack.
Oh boy.
I made sure the life insurance was up to date first, though. I keep trying, but he keeps sticking around. So.
All right. Let's
All right.
move. We're gonna move on. So you know who we're gonna. I found this. Somebody posted a picture in one of the other groups and wanted it shown on our show tonight. And I said we'll show it tonight. And I said Katie will talk about it. And you don't have to make up a lot of stuff. I think this person is going for his general soon. So what do you got here?
Yeah, it
Here's
says in about 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
let's see. Oh, there we go. There's our picture. So tonight's shack photo. Thank you very much to Kevin McMurray, who is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Radio Lima, and he's in West Plains, Missouri, and he is currently a tech. That's quite a nice darn shack there.
Yeah.
And
Good
he's
Lord.
studying. He's studying for his general. He said he's hoping to get it in 3 weeks. So he's got a 50-foot tower with a rotor, a 2-meter Cushcraft with a 10-element beam, 16-foot fiberglass Omni, a 2-meter 440, and a homemade 80-meter dipole. He says for use with 10 meters at the moment, and he's going to be adding an off-center fed Wyndham for 160 to 6, and just so total height of tip of antennas is 83 feet. So that is pretty slick. So he obviously is just diving right into ham radio, and nice shack,
Yeah.
and love to see what it looks like outside too.
Well, hey, I wonder if he's in the chat room tonight, because if he is, he might win an antenna.
Yeah, hey.
He may win an antenna.
So,
Okay. Well, I got
yeah,
another. I
thanks
got a
again.
second picture. He sent 2 pictures.
Oh, okay,
There
good.
it
'Cause I
is,
don't
kind of
have-
in the dark, man. He kind of got his little corner lit up there where he can operate late at night. You know,
That looks nice.
looks good. Yeah.
So,
Well,
guys, it's time for me to get on my soapbox.
Oh,
But
boy.
what?
It's not a rotor; it's a rotator.
Oh.
The rotor is the element with inside the rotator that turns.
Oh
Wait a
yeah.
minute.
Okay.
Wait a minute. You are from north of the Smith and Wesson line. It's
All
a
right.
rotor down here.
If you want to get in, hey,
Ask any engineer; he'll tell
All
you it's a rotator.
If you
It
wanna
turns
When I
get-
a
started
rotor.
writing the books, that was the first lesson I got.
okay. All right. If you want to get into a real argument, which is it, 73 or 73s?
No S.
73.
73. No S.
Now. Oh,
Because
what's
it's best regards.
What?
Otherwise, it's best regards. is-
Wait. What's the very first ham guy? What's his name? Maxim. What's his name?
Hiram Percy.
Yeah.
Maxim.
Now he signed his cards 73s apostrophe
I
S. Now he
know.
signed them like that. That was back in the first days.
It was before the internet. He couldn't look it up.
Well, it may have been.
Yeah, he didn't have Wikipedia.
That's
Okay.
right.
All right. Well, I don't get mad if someone says 73s.
I don't get mad either.
And I don't get mad if
life's
they.
too short
I don't
to
get
get mad about
mad.
stupid
I don't get
stuff
mad
like
if they
that.
say rotor.
Well, one of the stories I heard of the origins of 73 was telegraph operators in the Wild West. If they always carried a Winchester 73 rifle with them in their remote telegraph shacks, and if something were to happen to them, they would sign off the message, "I will you my 73." And so they just shorted that to 73, meaning if something happens to me, you can have my Winchester 73.
Well, that's cool.
That's interesting.
All right. Okay. All right.
I
Let's
don't know
move.
if it's true or not, but it makes for a good story.
Let's move on.
But that would indicate it would be
Alright.
just an
Yeah.
exception.
Let's move on. And Alan, you're going to talk about what are you going to talk about tonight, Alan?
Righty. So what I figured I'd talk about tonight is it's one of these topics that everybody sometimes gets pieces of it right and pieces of it wrong. So I'm hopefully I got most of it right. So we're talking about what happens when you add or subtract coax between your radio and your antenna. What happens to the SWR, what happens to the input impedance, and things like that. So I actually did a video over the weekend and put it on my YouTube channel. and it's only about 8 minutes long, so I figured I'd play it here, and then we could always go back and discuss it. So because I was hard at work 12 hours a day for the past 2 days, I didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare anything else.
Well,
so
fine.
I figured that's what we do. So let me go ahead and share this video. Let me share it with sound. And we're just going to play this, and then we could, if you have any questions, put them in the chat, and we can discuss it afterwards. So here we go. In this video, we're going to take a look at what happens when we add transmission line between a transmitter and an antenna. I'll give you the answer very quickly, and then we'll actually go look at why, and actually go make some measurements and show it. But the quick three-part answer is that the SWR does not change as you add or subtract transmission line length between your transmitter and the antenna. And of course, this is assuming that the line is not part of the antenna. And many times that's not the case. Oftentimes the shield of the coax becomes part of the counterpoise system for the antenna, so changing the line length may have some effect on SWR, but if the line is completely not part of the antenna, the SWR will not change. We'll show you why in a moment. However, the impedance looking into the line does change as you change the line length. So you can say, how does the impedance change without the SWR change? Well, we'll take a look at this on the Smith chart, the perfect tool to look at this, and we'll show you why. Now, the other thing that people get surprised at is that the apparent resonant frequencies of the antenna can move around as you add or subtract line length. And of course, that's assuming that the resonant point is not at the perfect center of the Smith chart right at 50 ohms. Now remember that resonance is only defined as when the impedance is purely resistive. There's no reactive component. So that could appear, it could be 40 ohm resistive, 55 ohm resistive, 100 ohm resistive, etc. All those are resonant points. But also it's important to remember that the resonant point is not always where you have the lowest SWR. So don't confuse the lowest SWR or the minimum of the SWR as being the resonant point of the antenna, because that's not always the case. Now here's a simple plot of, say, a fictitious antenna with some starting line length, and plotting the impedance on a Smith chart from low frequency to high frequency. And I've just highlighted 3 points on that chart. So let's take a look at the impedance looking into the end of a line after we add about 1/10 of a wavelength of transmission line. Now our assumptions here are that we're dealing with lossless line and that the line is not a significant part of the antenna. When we add or subtract transmission line, we're effectively rotating impedance around the center of the Smith chart, assuming that the center of the Smith chart is equal to Z0, or the characteristic impedance of the line. So if we take our original 3 points and this curve of our original sweep of the antenna, we essentially can draw these imaginary circles centered at the Z0 point for each of those points. These circles are known as constant SWR circles. So as we add or subtract line length, the impedance represented by any point on the curve rotates around its own constant SWR circle. When we add line length, we rotate clockwise. We subtract line length, we rotate counterclockwise. The outer axes of the Smith chart are actually calibrated in length of line in wavelengths. You can see there they both show 0.25 over here. This one here is decreasing. This one here is increasing. At this end of the chart, we see they're both at 0. What this indicates is one complete trip around the Smith chart is equal to 1/2 a wavelength in line. So what that means is that if you use a transmission line that's exactly 1/2 wavelength long at your operating frequency, the impedance looking into the line is exactly the same as the impedance looking into the antenna directly. At any other line length that is not an even 1/2 wavelength multiple, you're going to have an impedance that is not the same as the impedance looking into the line. But as we mentioned, the SWR does not change because we're simply rotating around these constant SWR circles. So let's take our example of adding 1/10 of a wavelength to the line length. So we start with point A, we can bring that out to the outer axis, add 1/10 of a wavelength to, we see we're a little bit past 0.22, we'll rotate down to a little bit past 0.32, and that's our new point for the impedance at that frequency looking into the transmission line. We do the same thing for point B. We rotate about 1/10 of a wavelength out this way, and that's our new point for B, and do the same thing for point C and pick our new point for C. Now you noticed each time I said we're rotating about a tenth of a wavelength. And the reason for that is that that transmission line is only going to be a tenth of a wavelength at one frequency. Let's say it was at frequency for A. When we go up to frequency B, a higher frequency means a shorter wavelength. So that fixed line length is going to be electrically a little bit longer than a tenth. We go up again to a higher frequency C, that line length is going to be a little bit longer again than a tenth. So the effect is the curve rotates around and stretches slightly because we're going to be the higher frequencies are going to rotate further around the chart. So you do get a slight change in the shape of the curve just because the line length in terms of the number of wavelengths changes with frequency as well. And again, this is assuming a lossless transmission line. If there were losses, these circles actually start to spiral inwards. And also assumes that, again, that the line is not a significant part of the antenna. So let's go take a look at this with a VNA and see what we're talking about. So here's our starting point. I've got a 20-meter vertical antenna hooked up through a piece of coax to the VNA. We can see the SWR plot here, minimum SWR at about 14.245 megahertz. And then this is our curve of the complex impedance of that antenna, sweeping from 13.7 to 14.7 megahertz. Now in my case here, the coax shield is a small portion of the counterpoise for the antenna, so you may notice a small shift in the lowest SWR point as we start adding coax length. Now I've added about 36 inches or just under 1 meter of RG8X coax, which at 14.2 megahertz represents about 0.056 wavelengths of line length. So you notice that our whole curve has rotated slightly clockwise around the center of the Smith chart. You'll also notice that we actually cross the center axis of the Smith chart twice. There's actually 2 resonant points. And again, resonance doesn't mean minimum SWR. Resonance just means that we have no reactance. I've just added a second 36-inch or about 1 meter long length of line, and we can see we've rotated that curve a little bit further. And again, our SWR curve has not changed. Now this is after adding another 36-inch length of coax, and we've rotated our curve a little bit further. Again, you'll notice there's a slight change in the shape of this curve because the line length in terms of number of wavelengths is a little different for each of the frequencies along this curve. But you also notice again that the SWR plot really has not changed. So let's play each of those 4 scenarios out in unison. I'll just merge from one to the other and you can visualize how this curve is rotating around. This was our starting point. This is after adding one section of 36-inch line or about 1 meter of line length. This is with an additional 6 feet or just under 2 meters of additional coax. Now this is after adding another 36-inch length. So I hope this video has taught you a little bit about what happens when you add or subtract line length between a transmitter and an antenna. So anyway, that was one of the videos I did over the weekend and before heading back to work. So it's just one of those topics that sometimes people get confused about. And might say, well, if I change the length of coax, my antenna tuner works better. And it's not because the SWR changes, it's just because the complex impedance changes into a range that your tuner is better able to handle, for example. But it's not that the SWR changes. And again, if you do see the fact that your SWR does change when you change coax length, it means most likely that you've got some, that the coax is actually acting as a counterpoise or actually part of the antenna. So it is retuning the antenna in that sense. But anyway, I just thought that was an interesting topic for tonight.
Does it hold true the same if you're using open wire or ladder line versus coax?
It does. Yeah, the concept is still the same because it really just comes down to you get an impedance transformation, which is really just means that the voltage and current relationships change across the line, whether it's 600 ohm line or 450 ohm line or 300 ohm line, 75 ohm coax, 50 ohm coax. That process is still the same.
Okay, well, cool. And if anybody has any questions, they can email you. We've got your email address. Just look him up on QRZ.
Yep.
There is one in the chat that you might be able to answer.
Okay.
Sure. Okay, I got to go back and look at the chat here.
Well, I can. He says Christopher K94YLPS. When adding the coax, did you use couplers or a new coax that was longer?
When I did it, I just used a little SO239, female to female coupler. That's what I had, for the purposes of explanation. That's all I did, but it really doesn't matter either way. It's kind of the same concept. The line is longer or shorter, you'll kind of get that. And I've had a situation here. I use a non-resonant 130-foot dipole fed with 450 ohm line. And I actually have a section of line here that's about 3 feet long with just banana connectors on either end that I'll sometimes stick in line because there's portions of the extremes of the 75 meter band that I can't tune unless I add or remove that piece and alter the impedance just enough to make my tuner happy.
So another question from KG4 VET says, does that mean the longer run of coax helps to get closer to 50 ohms?
Well, a longer run of coax, if it was lossless coax, doesn't really help you get anywhere. It's a longer run of coax that's lossy. It does make it appear that you're getting closer to 50 ohms, because what happens when you have lossy coax, when you send your signal out from the transmitter, it goes out to the antenna. Some of the signal is lost in the coax. And then if your antenna is not matched, some of that reflected energy is lost coming back. So by the time it gets back to your transmitter, it's lower than it would have been. So as far as the transmitter is concerned, I don't have a whole lot of reflected energy. I must have a really good match. Okay, it's just that you've actually lost that power. It's kind of like the coax acting like a little bit like a dummy load. So long coax can sometimes improve your SWR or your measured SWR, but it isn't really improving the situation.
All right. If there's any more questions, send them in to Alan, and he'll give you an answer. Alan knows his stuff, man.
Hey, can I do a quick shout out?
Sure, go right ahead.
Ria's on tonight. Hi, Ria, and to RJ. And she just posted in the chat. She just worked Dwayne on the 160 meters and made her worked all states 160 tonight. So
yeah, I know it. So hey, if anybody needs worked all states, use this program here to talk with Dwayne right there. Okay.
Yeah, just watch our show.
Whatever band you need, just let us know, and Katie will relay it to Dwayne there. I think he'll do every band except 11, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 60.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey,
right.
thank you. Thanks, Alan.
Great, thank you.
Hey, well, we're going to move on. We got a fast-paced show tonight, as I mentioned in the pre-show. We got a lot going on here. So we're going to come up in just a minute, and we're going to give away an antenna. And let me tell you, our friends Dwayne Kincaid at LDG contacted me today and says, hey, Tom, I want to give away an HF antenna every week for 8 weeks on your show. And they've been a great supporter of our show here. And so look what we're going to do. We're going to have a drawing in a minute. We're going to give away an antenna. Now, I don't know. Okay, we got 4 to choose from here tonight. Which one do we want to give away tonight? Do we want to give away the off-center fed Wyndham, the in-fed? Okay, you guys tell me in the chat room, what's most popular? What do you want? You want a G5RV? You want the off-center? An in-fed? Tell me what you want, and we're gonna pick it here. And then we'll issue this to someone. Now, let me also say this. We're going to pick from the participants' chat list. Hambot is semi-retired, so we're going to have to do a special deal tonight. The chat room participant list only shows those that have been active in the last couple minutes. So even though we have over 200 people watching the show now, we may only be showing 20 people in the chat room. So what I need you to do, I need you to enter something in the chat. Hit a period and an enter, or hello and an enter. Just do something to put your name in the chat room. And in that way, we will have a more comprehensive list of who all's in the chat room. So let's see if anybody's going to start doing that. Let's see. I'm looking. Okay.
It's really
a lot going on here. Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot going on. Hey, it's going so fast. Let's see. Off center fed. I'm trying to take a vote here. Off center.
And fed and off center are both. They seem to be tied at this point for every
draw
every
my
off
name,
center.
I'll take either one.
Which one? The in-fed or off center? Is that what we want to do?
Yeah. Pick one.
Okay. Let's do.
Pick one and give me the other one.
Let's do the off-center fed. We're going to do an off-center fed tonight. There it is, right there. So the off-center fed is it's about $130 antenna, and this includes 140 feet of your number 14 7 wire. That means there's 7 strands of wire in that stranded wire. You get 25 foot of coax. You get a center insulator. You get the end insulators. You get the LDG RU 4-to-1 and you get a 1-to-1 choke. So all that is in a package. Now, this is a kit. This is an antenna kit. You get all these pieces, and you have to put it together yourself. So we're going to do the off-center fed. I'm going to make a note here. Today, we're going to give one of these away.
Outdoors in the snow, 30 below.
Barefoot.
Barefoot, yeah.
Okay. So we're going to do tonight an off-center fed. So everybody has basically entering. You're entering a period or a letter or something. I see a lot of activity in the chat room.
That's great, yeah.
And if I go now to the participants list, if I go to the participants list, I just want to look.
Oh yeah, the list got huge.
There's thousands. No, not quite, but we need you to do that because YouTube basically only keeps the most current in here. Okay, so
cool.
Okay, so everybody's doing good there. All right, so we'll do this in just a minute. We'll be back in a minute, guys, and we'll draw a name. Now, you got to claim your prize. We're going to announce it, and I want you to claim your prize. Another thing, we need to make this a U.S.-based prize tonight. U.S.-based, so you need a U.S. address. I don't care if you live outside the country. If you have a U.S. address, we can ship it to that address. So, and we're going to give you about a minute to claim it when we put your name in the chat room. Start watching the chat room. Kathy will enter your name in the chat room and say you're the winner. And if you don't claim it in 60 seconds, we're going to give it to someone else. So we'll be back in just a minute with the drawing here. So everybody stand by. Ham for the holidays. ICOM's new ID52A and the IC705 give hours of fun and enjoyment working your favorite bands this holiday season. ICOM's newest handheld amateur radio is the ID52A. Larger radio, larger color display, and a louder audio. This VHF-UHF digital receiver is much more than a replacement for the ID51A. It's also a new way of communicating. The multifunction D-band D-Star transceiver supports DR mode for easy access to local repeaters based on internal GPS information. The ID52A also has Bluetooth for audio and data control. And for the first time in the amateur radio industry, you can now send photos from a connected Android device. Other features include wideband receiver with guaranteed range of 144 to 148 and 440 to 450 megahertz, integrated GPS including grid square location, a micro USB for data transfer, programming, and charge, and it's IPX7 waterproof. The ID52A is a perfect companion to the IC705. Both use compatible batteries and headsets. And you can also use the same Android app for D-Star operation. The IC705 is a perfect sidekick for hams that like to enjoy both the indoors and outdoors. It's the perfect QRP companion and covers HF 6 meters, 2 meters, and 70 centimeters. This compact rig weighs in at about just 2 pounds. It has a 4.3-inch touch screen with live band scope and waterfall, and you get 5 watts with the BP272, and you get 10 watts with the 13.8 volt DC. It has a micro USB connector, Bluetooth, and WLAN, integrated GPS with antenna and GPS logger, and it comes with a speaker microphone standard. The perfect accessory for the IC705 is the optional LC192 backpack. It has a special compartment for all of your accessories. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM.
LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art antenna tuners for every amateur need. From QRP to QRO, fixed stations, portable and remote, an LDG tuner will match your radio to your antenna using our lightning-fast, proprietary tuning algorithms. LDG is a family-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing innovative, quality products to the amateur market. All LDG products carry a full 2-year warranty that is fully transferable. Support is only a phone call or email away. We're always here to help you. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
Hello. Kathy calling you?
I can't answer this right now, Teresa. Why are you calling me? Why are you calling me?
She's trying to get extra points on the chat list.
Teresa, I'll talk to you later, Teresa. I don't know. I can't talk to you right now. Okay. So Kathy has she's got a name. This is for the off-center fed antenna. $130 value off-center fed antenna kit. We need a U.S. address. If you don't have a U.S. address, it's going to void it. I don't know if she's if she has got to get a ham bot or not, but I'm going to say go ahead. I'm going to tell her to go ahead.
Now, I love what happened in the chat room there. Spike just asked, how many tickets does Joe Eisenberg have?
Yeah, he only has one.
I mean, that's the determining factor here.
Okay.
We got Katie starting. It's good.
We're going to have to... Okay, yeah, I've got to have a better way to do this. Let me say something, Kathy. Okay, so what we wanted to do, we want the person to claim it. That shows us that person is actually participating in the show. We don't want to just... we just don't want to just pick a name and say you won it, because you might not even be here. There we go. Okay, the potential winner of the LDG off-center fed antenna is...
Dino.
Dino.
Is...
Dino Papas.
Dino
That's Kilo Lima
Papas.
Zero Sierra.
Who is that?
That's Kilo Lima Zero Sierra. He kept posting that he would give it to a beginning ham.
Okay,
He just
is
worked Wayne earlier, too.
Dino here? Is Dino here? I need to... Huh? Did he...
Yeah, he already said thanks.
Oh, Dino's... Okay, that saved me from having to run the timer here. Dino?
Right.
Okay, hey, Dino. Yes, Dino's here. Okay, he claimed it. Okay, Dino's here. We've got to figure out how to get this under a little bit better control. You guys, if you remember, Hambot used to really manage all this for us. And here's Hambot.
There he is.
Here's
he
Hambot.
Just replied. Oh, we miss Hambot.
I miss him, yeah. He was fun.
Yeah. Well, we're missing Hambot.
Case of WD-40.
Anyway, okay, so that was the first one we've given without Hambot. So it was a little bit rough, but hey, it worked, and we got a winner there. Dino, send me an email to tom@w5kub.com, tom@w5kub.com, and we need to get your address and information, and I'll get that to LDG, and they will ship you and it's going to be the off-center fed Wyndham. $130 value. It includes the 140 feet of wire, the 25 coax, center insulator, end insulators, and the and the balun, or the choke, the one-to-one choke. So all that to put it together there. Okay.
That's great. Thank you again, LDG. That's really nice of Dwayne and crew
to
okay. Make those donations. So every week, this is just the first week, everybody.
Yeah, especially thanks to Dwayne Kincaid and LDG, man, for this. This is cool. So we did something tonight that we wasn't sure we could do without Hambot, but we made it work tonight. All right. So let's keep it rolling here. Glenn, you had something you wanted to talk about, Glenn.
Yeah, let me share my screen here real quick and show you a couple things. Takes a minute for my computer to get its act together. And anyway, we talked about this weekend. I'm going to be doing the live event with the PhaseDoc folks. But also, did it just drop off?
No, I'm seeing something. I'm seeing.
We're reading your email.
Oh yeah, wonderful.
Is that?
Click to a different window.
Is that your bank account right there?
There it is.
Oh,
Yeah, no, that's my work email.
Oh, okay.
And I've been off of work since March. So anyway, this month's QST, I did the review of the Dr. Arduino Explorer, which is an Arduino prototyping and learning and development type kit. And that's a picture of the kit as it comes. And also, I finished the RIDI reader, and we got that there. That's the UART chip that it uses. That's the board itself, and got the completed RIDI reader. And that's an actual live test I did with it.
Oh, that's cool.
And so it's gonna run, and this is coming out in the next book. And I want to show you this. No, you don't get to read my email. You probably already have, but something has been happening. This is the first of the new book. I got the layouts in today of what the new book is going to look like. And this is chapter 2. And we're actually rolling on putting it together. The editing process is in the works.
Those pictures look really good.
Oh man, it's got to be black and white. This is the initial layout and placement. Like that's crooked, and we got to fix a few things. But this is the raw layout directly from ARRL after what I submitted, and I'm really pleased. They tweak things up. If you notice here, they've redone the beginning chapter graphic, which I think that just looks gorgeous to me. And I'm looking really, I'm really liking that. And so I think we're on track for a spring release. If Dayton's going to be here, it might be out in time for Dayton, which would be nice. But this is that Explorer that I was talking about, and this is great for quickly prototyping and testing and playing and learning with the Arduino, and I used it for several projects in the book, and that's in January's QST. So that's what's been going on over here. Things are rolling full speed.
All right. Well, get that book published so we all can order one.
Yeah, and if you read the email, you saw that they're looking to put me back to work starting next week.
I didn't see that. That's good, man.
Yeah.
I knew they couldn't do without you.
Oh no, that was really never an issue. It's just an issue, being a contractor, it's who is going to have the contract to own you. And one job ends, they find you another one. It's so hard to find quality talent, as Dwayne knows. I mean, how many times has he come out of retirement now to go places and do things?
Yeah.
There just aren't technical people
Well,
out
I'm
there
glad they
anymore.
did that because I was dreading you packing up and trying to move everything.
Oh, that ain't happening.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, it would take a miracle or let me just say, an offer I can't refuse from our favorite gentleman in Starkville for me to even think about moving. So.
All right. Well.
And I don't want to. I don't see it happening at this point. So.
Well, as soon as this COVID thing is over, you can start coming back up here and being in the studio.
Yeah, I'd love to, and I'll start bringing some things, and I'll leave the cats at home. I promise.
Okay, well that might be best.
Yes,
it's a little crowded back here in the shack. I saw that picture on Facebook. You holding one of those things. That thing looked like a lion.
That's the one we call Godzilla.
Yeah,
and that was at a show last year. And I mean, but the thing is, they're just big mush balls. You saw me earlier, off screen with the other one in my lap, my arms. She had to have her attention tonight. She was willing to sit there all night if I'd have let her. So, that's just their nature. They're cool cats.
Well, all right. Well, hey, thanks, man, and
thank you.
we'll keep waiting for that book.
Well, it's rolling. I was so happy to see those layouts today. I mean, that was really
Yeah,
was
it looks really
impressive to
good.
me.
Yeah, looks good. All right. Well, we're going to move on to our pico balloons, and we got Bill here with us. Bill is the expert. Bill is the man. It has the title high altitude, a master of high altitude balloons. Now, our pico balloons aren't really considered high altitude balloons because we fly them at kind of low altitude, 40,000 feet or something like that. But he's got the experience.
Still pretty high. You can call me a balloonatic too.
A balloonatic. That's okay. Hey, I need to put that on your lower third. Balloonatic. Yeah, let me write that down. Balloonatic. Balloonatic. Is that TIC? Balloonatic? Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
So, yeah, in a minute, I want you to talk about some of the things you've done and any of the challenges or what you did to our code. So, one of my things I wanted on this next flight was, people following our flights in the show get really engaged in tracking these balloons, but I didn't want it to get boring. And but it's even getting a little boring for me because the first 4 or 5 or 6 balloons, I'd stay up all night and I would log, every 10 minutes, the altitude and the speed and all that kind of stuff, the voltage. And recently it got where I don't even get up in the morning to see if it's still flying. I get up, I have breakfast, and I'll check it. So, but we want to do something different to get the excitement going again. And we talked about a few different things. And, we've talked on this show, Bill and others talked on the show about listening to Sputnik. And for all you young guys who don't know what Sputnik was, just do a Google for Sputnik. And Sputnik was a Russian satellite, the first one launched, and as it circled the Earth, it gave out a little radio signal, and people could tune it in and listen to it when it went over. So that got us thinking, okay, let's try to put some kind of beacon. Now we want to keep the data information, altitude, all those kind of things. We want to keep that, but we want to do something additionally. So we talked about, and Bill was able to put in a CWID, and so now it's going to be weak, but it's going to have a CWID that you can possibly hear when it goes over. So that's one thing to listen for. And Bill's going to also tell us about QRSS in a minute. That's another function that it has, and he'll explain that in detail. That's kind of neat to have on there. I'm working on the PA, the power amplifier, to get that power up. I want to light the world up. The little 10 milliwatt has done a good job for us, but there are places over the stands, and the stands are all those countries over there that end with stand, if you know what I mean. And somehow they suck the signal out of the air, man. It's really difficult to get a signal out of the stands. And even sometimes in the Pacific, there's areas where we don't get much of a signal. So to go from 10 milliwatts to 100 milliwatts, I think it's going to make a good difference. That's one of the things we're doing. And also, we've always been flying the flat horizontal panels, solar panels. And of course, as we get to wintertime, the sun never gets up more than about 40 degrees elevation. So our days were very short. So one of the things that we've done on this one, and I'll get it right here, and then we'll let Bill talk about all the little details. But one of the things we've done here is I wanted to try something different. So we're going with 3 cells, three sides of cells. So you see we're kind of in a little triangle formation here, but we got solar cells on 3 sides. And we have them vertically now instead of horizontal. When we have them horizontal, we don't even turn on until the sun gets about 20 degrees high coming down on the panels. And then the sun is only going to go up to 40 degrees and then back down. And then when we hit 20, we lose it again. So our thought is, if we can take something like this and aim the panels have them vertically and aim them, perpendicular out this way toward the sun, we should be able to pick up good sun when the sunrise, 1 degree, 2 degree. We should be able to get that, I hope. And then as the sun hits 40, well, when you hit 40 up there, 40 degrees here, we still have to get to the 20 degree where we lose it. 40. We still have plenty of. I'm not describing it. We still have plenty of leeway here that extra capacity. Even if the sun could even go higher, and I think we would still pick it up. But what I'm trying to say is, with the sun only reaching 40 degrees, we should be able to pick it up from sunrise to the peak of 40, and then maybe back down to sunset. And the reason we ran three different sides is you never know which way this thing's going to hang. If it's hanging by its string, and it's going through a little bit of wind. I mean, it's pretty calm up here, but it might turn this way. It might rotate that way a little bit. So you almost have to run 3 cells to always have cells pointed at the sun. I took this out build the other day and hooked it up, and I played with it in the sun, and had excellent results. Man, I had sun any direction I turned this thing. We had good output on it. That was good. I even put it horizontal, and we had good sun. I was trying to get that low angle. Coming in on it like this, and it still looked pretty good. Our problem is this adds a lot of weight. And, Bill's motto is you build the tracker as light as you can and then make it lighter. Well, on this flight, we're making the tracker heavier and heavier and heavier. So
how much does that assembly weigh?
This one right here with the solar panels, I'll tell you, let me put it on the scale, and it's going to be, okay, here's the scale. The scales are on, and this whole assembly with the wires, all the glue, the cells, and the styrofoam, it's going to be pretty heavy. I mean, this is 18 grams.
Wow.
And that's more than normally. Our last tracker we flew was 11 grams total.
That's more than the tracker itself.
Yeah. Well, the tracker only weighs about the tracker itself is about a 1.6 grams. But so here's the deal. We've been flying. Our last flight was 11 grams total. This one's going to probably come in at about 24. Now, I think the SBS will handle that. It's a big balloon. It should handle it okay. And again, this is experimental, boy. We're putting everything on here. We're putting a power amplifier on it. We got multiple cells. We got all kinds of new stuff on here, and it's an experimental flight. And we hope it stays up more than one day.
Hey Tom, I'm wondering how much of the weight of that cell assembly is in the styrofoam, and how much of it is in the cells?
Well, the styrofoam is actually cut out. This is just a skeleton. I cut out as much as I could. If you look in there, you'll see the cells.
Yeah, what I was wondering is if you could you do something where the cells made the triangle and were held together by the wires soldered across them, so you wouldn't need any structure that way.
I tell you, these cells are glass, and they're so thin. 3 months ago, I could not have put 7 of them together without breaking 3.
Okay.
They are so fragile. This time, actually, I put 21 together and didn't break any. But I wanted them on the styrofoam because the first flight we sent up, I used Edward's technique, and we had 3 panels on each side of the tracker. And they were actually held in place with a piece of guitar string. The wire came out, it was soldered on it, and then you daisy chain 3 little cells with just a wire. Now you can make this thing really light. The tracker is 1.6 grams, and each cell there weighs about 0.4 of a gram. So six cells is 2.4 grams, and a 1.6. Well, you got 4 grams. 4 grams is the total tracker and the solar panels if you want to. And we've been flying them, of course, a lot lower in weight. But one of the things that made this heavy, I used some adhesive. I used some automotive adhesive. You can see all the little spots on here. You can see the different spots. That's automotive adhesive where I glued these panels with just one little spot on each side. But I think the adhesive added about 5 grams to the weight of this. This styrofoam weighs nothing. In fact, this styrofoam is so light, I have to keep it tied down over there or it will float away.
You know, Tom, it's the holiday season, so, I mean, everything's allowed to be a few grams heavier.
Well, that is true. That's true. So anyway, hey guys, we don't know. We don't know if we're gonna. The balloon can handle it. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. What was that? What was that, Bill?
You're gonna call this the Bondo balloon mission?
Well, you know, when I worked at FedEx, the plane when they were fueled up and everything, they were called them like FedEx Heavy. You know, when you talk to in the airport, you talk to the tower, it's FedEx Heavy. This is going to be, KUB 23 Heavy. Yeah, there's no
heavy.
There's no doubt about it. So I don't know how much altitude we will lose. Do you have any guesses, Bill?
Well, several thousand feet. So you'll probably be around 38,000 feet, I would imagine.
The balloon before the last one, we flew at about 45.
Yeah.
So 45, I figure if we lose 3,000 or 4,000, I mean, we can still fly at 40, maybe. I'm thinking we're going to do 40.
Maybe, but I'm thinking between 38 and 40.
Yeah. So that is, I mean, and we understand that risk, and we just want to try something different.
But the one you got to go around the world was only the one that went 3 times was only like 38,000 feet.
Well, I have to go back and look at my notes, but most of the SBS balloons have been flying, hadn't they, Bill, a little over 40?
Yeah, depends if you use.
I mean, we've used hydrogen in all of them, so I think most of our flights have been up 41 to 43, 44. It might have hit a little higher, but okay. So anyway, we know we're heavy. But guess what? That solar panel is so much bigger. When we let it go, we're going to be able to watch it a lot further. That's one of the benefits. We're going to be able to see it as it goes into the horizon there.
But that also makes it a bigger target on the Chinese radar.
Target. That's true. That's true. So I don't know, Bill. I mean, I don't know enough about this.
The Sky Ants will have luxury accommodations on this one.
I'm thinking, and hey, KUB Industries here is right now. They're having a board meeting to determine if we're going to let 2 crew go up or reduce it to 1 crew.
Well, come on now. This is the W5 KUB Hilton. I mean, bring a whole pack of them.
Well, we got to watch our weight. They can only throw so much overboard. But anyway, we're going to see what happens. I hope to be able to launch maybe in the next week or 10 days. Bill, I've got to redo the low-pass filter on the little amp. And here's what I found. Here's what I noticed. Without the filter on there, we were running about we had good output. I'm guessing 70, 80 milliwatts at least. We were only drawing like 33 milliamps. And I told you it jumped up to 80. Well, when I added the low pass filter on and connect the antenna to the low pass filter, it draws 80 milliamps. So I take the low pass filter off and we're back down. So it's a impedance matching issue. And I checked the antenna. I've got just a piece of wire out the window here, a little vertical piece of wire out the window, and I've been connecting to that. And I put my antenna analyzer on it earlier, and it's kind of resonant at 10 megs instead of 14. That's probably got a little bit to do with it.
Yeah, those values is what I use on my tractor. The component values you had for your pi filter are what I
Well, I'm going to try it. I ordered the surface mount inductors and some chip capacitors. We'll try those values to see how they work. And
values for what I use.
Yeah.
That cuts the frequency off much higher.
And I think it makes a big difference on the antenna itself. I mean, you may have what you think is a perfect low-pass filter on here, but if your antenna's the wrong impedance or something, or it's going to throw it off. So it's a lot of unknown for me in a lot of areas that I can't see very, very easily. But
so Tom, I'm wearing the hamvention hat from now on, and that when I was working as an engineer for Army research, I always wanted to work for NASA. So for many years, I wore this hat in hopes that eventually someday I would get a job at NASA.
Yeah.
Well, I did finally. After it only took 20 years, but I got a job at NASA. So now I'm going to wear this hat, and that means
maybe you can get a job with a hamvention.
Hamvention will happen. A volunteer job, yes. But it'll be, this means that hamvention is going to happen if I wear this hat.
Uh-huh. Well, maybe it'll happen. I don't know. It's going to come up before you know it. And
well, I'm optimistic. Really would love to see it happen, and I think there's a real possibility that it will.
I'd wear an Ohio State hat if to make hamvention happen.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, tell us. Let's jump back and tell us before we run out of time.
I wanted to
tell
show
us
you
about the QRSS, what it is, and how people what it does if they want to try to use that in tracking the balloon.
I have a little 3 slides I'll show here.
Okay.
Okay, sure. Oh. Hit the wrong thing there. Okay, can you see that?
I see the slow CW and QRSS.
Now, let me make it full screen here. There we go. So there's some interesting modes that you may not have heard of called QRSS, or very, very slow CW. QRS is the Q signal for slow down sending CW. So can you send more slowly? QRSS is send really, really slowly. So some of these, this is a screenshot of a pretty active band. It's just below the whisper band. 30 meters is probably the most popular one, around 10.14 megahertz upper sideband. And it's a frequency shift key mode. I have this in your code, but I didn't implement it because I didn't want to take 3 minutes, which is kind of the minimum for this mode. It can be up to 10 minutes. Where the 10-minute transmission, it's 6 seconds for a dot and 18 seconds for a dash. But the neat thing is, very weak signals can be copied on CW way below what you could possibly hear, because the screen capture software, and there's several out there, they allow you to integrate the noise and just see the signal. So the frequency shift for that top line, the top strong line, you can see the actual code is on the top line, and then the spaces are 5 hertz down below. That's the frequency shift. So right in the middle, it's dit, which is G, and that is 0, M, B, A. So this is how it works. So we're not going to implement this on the balloon, but we are going to do a slow CW. By the way, for those of you interested in this mode, and like I say, on 20 meter band, if you tune to the whisper frequency, whisper is between 1400 and 1600 hertz if you're tuned to 14.0956 upper sideband. All you have to do is run one of these screen capture software programs. I use Argo, which is a free download, and you listen right around 1200 to 1300 hertz. So you can just leave it on the whisper frequency, but just look down.
Bill, I used
this is a really neat website that describes what QRSS is, and there's screen captures from hams all over the world that post every 10 minutes. They update what they're seeing on their waterfall displays in the QRSS segment, so you can look for signals anywhere in the world. It's kind of neat how they archive all this, but it's a QRSS grabber list is what this website shows.
Hey, Bill?
Yes.
Yeah, I ran a little whisper, QRSS beacon here probably about 2 years ago, just to play around with it, and running it at 50 milliwatts into my dipole antenna, and I was heard and picked up in Madagascar and Antarctica with 50 milliwatts on 20 meters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fantastic. So this is an example of Argo. Once again, just search for Argo QRSS viewer, and it's a free download. And if you see, this is a slow CW mode. This is not the 3-minute and 10-minute QRSS mode. This is just slow CW. This is what we're going to be sending on the balloon just below the whisper band. We're going to send a short message, W5KUB-23, in about 10 to 12 words a minute. And then this message is at 2 words a minute. And it shows up beautifully in this screen capture software. Can anybody copy the secret message in the screen there? Anybody?
Well, I'm sure they're not going to be able to pick that out, but
can you see it?
Well,
it's easy to pick out.
I can.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if I don't think you're looking at the secret message, Glenn.
No, we're just looking at the call sign.
You're looking at the call. You're looking at the call sign.
Yeah, it's W5KUB.
But that's not the secret message.
Oh, the secret message is Glenn's getting a pay raise?
No. You get your binoculars out or microscope. The secret message is there.
I don't see it either.
Unless it's in the vertical waterfall on the W.
No. Well, no.
Anyways, that is the secret message, W5KUB. This is what we'll be sending. It's 30-second transmission at about 2 words a minute, and it shows up beautifully on the waterfall display using this Argo program. So,
But Bill, don't you have another message that's encoded inside those dots and dashes there?
No. So I send your call sign -23 at 12 words a minute, and then a few seconds later I send this at 2 words a minute, so that you can use these viewers to see it. And this is
when I talked to you the other day, I guess we had a misunderstanding. I was looking at these dashes and dots here, and I could see inside of each one of the dash and dots, I could see it looked like more dots and dashes. I thought there was maybe a secret message hidden inside of these.
If you stare at them long enough, you might begin to see things like that.
Yeah.
Tom, I'll be glad to share my meds with you.
Okay.
So anyways, this is the message that we'll be sending, and your challenge for those during the flight is to be able to capture this and send a screen capture of W5KUB balloon on this slow CW and send it to Tom, and maybe you'll come up with a certificate if people can grab this and send it to you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come up with something special.
So I also wanted, since you're working on this new bumping the power up a little bit, the real challenge is trying to find a milliwatt meter. A lot of people have these bird watt meters, but the lowest slug you can get is 5 watt full scale, and a lot of them are a lot higher than that. How do you measure power at a milliwatt or 10 milliwatts or 50 milliwatts accurately? Well, I found this really nice gem on Amazon for $53, and it uses an Analog Devices chip that is a very linear amplifier that gives you a voltage output for power in. And so the nice feature of this is you have to use an external attenuator. You can buy those SMA attenuators very, very readily. I put a 30 dB attenuator on this. This can only handle 1 milliwatt input power. So if you want to put more than that, you have to put an attenuator on it. It has a feature with the buttons there to enter the value of the attenuator that you're using, and then it will display the actual power. It also gives you the peak-to-peak voltage and dBm, and converts it to milliwatts, or in this case nanowatts. So it's a really, really neat device, and runs off 7 volts to 12 volts, I think. So, but I just got that in a few weeks ago and tried it, and I'm measuring my output power on my Sky Tracker at 20, right around 20 milliwatts or so, and then the SI 5351 chips are right around 10 to 12 milliwatts, which is what you're using on your tracker.
Sorry, do you have an amp on your board?
No, I'm using a different synthesizer on my board.
Oh, okay.
Puts out more power.
I got you.
Hey, Bill, what's the linear chip that thing's using?
Right there. It's the Analog Devices.
The 8310.
I'm not sure what's in that one I just showed you, but this is a $12 version that doesn't have the display, and it gives you linear output. Its dynamic range on this one is minus 77 dBm to plus 18 dBm. So in this case, you wouldn't even need an attenuator for our low power whisper transmitters. And this one uses an 8310, which Analog Devices. And they have a chart a graph that charts it out, so you can see what your output voltage is compared to what the actual input power was.
So does that have a dummy load built in it?
It's got a 50 ohm resistor across the input there.
Okay.
A little chip resistor.
So I could use that in an external meter with some type sheet of paper with a cross reference that would tell me the power.
It would tell you your power, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet you could take one of the TFT displays for $3 and a rotary encoder and have that do everything you want for an extra $5-10, Tom.
You would have it doing everything that this module does.
Right. I thought $53 was a bit high on that.
Yeah, I do too. I can go to $11. I don't know if I want to go 55.
Right. But yeah, with the chart, I compared this, and it compares with that other module, the $53 one. Just put a voltmeter on it and look at the chart, and it'll tell you what your output power is in milliwatts.
Oh, that looks cool. Like I say, I want to get one and play with it to tweak it up and give it that display.
This would be a great Arduino project for you.
That's I just wrote down the information. I'm going to be looking and getting me one or two of those.
Yeah, just remember that that plus 18 dBm is only like 63 milliwatts. So
yeah.
Right. You would still want to put an attenuator in front of it if you're going to be more than 63 milliwatts.
Yeah. If an ant yells too loud, it'll blow it out.
Right.
Do you think if we put 100 milliwatts in that and it was rated at 63, do you think it would damage it?
It might not, but it would flat top. It would no longer be linear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you want to risk it?
Well, we want to go radical with everything we do, man.
Yeah, Tom's not happy until he sees smoke, is what he's basically trying to say.
But it's in the linear range, it's plus 24 millivolts per dB. And if you look at the part that says detection slope. So
I was actually working on something similar in the low watt range with the 808307, and it was supposed to be in my second book. And the rat finks stole the chips, and I only had 2. And I couldn't find them for 6 weeks.
Oh my!
So that one didn't make the book.
Well, this one goes from 0.1 megahertz to 440 megahertz.
That's nice.
And you just feed the power in through an SMA, and away you go.
I like that.
So those are some things that I've been playing with recently, and with low power applications, because I bought a old Bird milliwatt meter. I think it's the 6254. It was built in the 1960s, and you can buy those on eBay from time to time, but they start at 30 megahertz. Actually, it says 30 megacycles, which is what it really ought to be.
Well, that's what they were in the 60s.
Well, that's no good anymore. We use hertz now. We don't use cycles. So
yeah, well,
I can see why.
Hertz to cycles?
I can see why it was so cheap. That's just like the new TVs now. You know, they went digital instead of analog. It's useless.
Yeah. I'll show you what the Bird watt meter looks like. It is pretty nice to have.
I think it's fun the way all of this classical equipment starting to come back into style and use.
The segment that we did a couple weeks ago on the Simpson 260 and the videos they did on that, they were really popular.
Oh, yes. Oh, I mean, I've always had a soft spot in my heart for the 260.
Yep. Oh, there you go. There's the Bird.
So this is 250 milliwatts peak.
Oh, wow.
What I found is, and it's a hold it steady, you'll see it's a 6254, and it says 30 to 500 megacycles. I love it. And it's
but you can't use anything that reads megacycles anymore.
And it's got a little metal cover to keep the dial dust free. And these, I think I paid somewhere around $50-$60 for it. It's got a BNC connector in the side, and the inside there was a calibration sheet, signed 1962, and a spare diode, spare detection diode.
Don't you love finding those calibration sheets and stuff and that old stuff that you pick up?
Oh, this is just a marvelous piece of engineering. I've got numerous Bird watt meters, but none of them can even begin to detect anything below 100 milliwatts. So this has been a marvelous aid. And then I found those power modules on those digital power modules, and they work great. So I still use this, but it shows about half the power of reality when you're feeding it about 14 megahertz, because its cutoff frequency is 30 megahertz. So on my 20 milliwatt output, it'll show 10 on this.
That's cool. I didn't even know they made one.
Well, a friend of mine up in Dayton, AH2AR, Dave, he's been just buying these up like hotcakes. He's got a collection of them, and he told me about them, and I didn't even know they existed. So I own 2 of them now.
That's cool.
But they're great. They're very wonderfully accurate on the 2 meter band, and VHF, it works great.
Let me make a quick announcement here before we run out of time. You're listening to Amateur Radio Roundtable. This is all about ham radio. And if you're out there listening on shortwave right now, we'd love to hear from you. Send an email to tom@w5kub.com, tom@w5kub.com. And if you have internet wherever you are, you can watch the show live. UTC time would be 0200 UTC on Wednesdays. If you're in the United States, you can watch the show Tuesday evening, 8 o'clock p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. All right, back to the show.
All right, well, that's the projects I've been working on, and we hope that, Tom, you're able to get that in the air in the next little while, and we'll be looking for it. There'll be
yeah. Well, I've got to get the amp going. I haven't even had time to comment out those lines in the Arduino firmware yet. I was so busy getting the show ready today and all those kind of things. So been real busy. I've got some parts orders from DigiKey. I should have them in about 2 or 3 days, and I'll try to build up that filter again using the values that you said. One of the things I think makes a real big difference is try to get the antenna impedance right to match that, because if the antenna impedance is just way off, even though your filter is designed this way, it's going to I think it's going to throw the filter off. So I'm going to play around with the antenna here a little bit. As I mentioned earlier, I've been testing here, Bill, and I've got I thought I had a 17-foot piece of wire that went out my window up to a tree limb, and I was hooking the tracker to it and grounding it through my station ground, the ground side. Mm-hmm. And it could be picked up occasionally on this little piece of wire out here, not very often. But when I put that 100 milliwatt amp on, people started picking it up like 1,000 miles away. So I know the amp was working. Then I went to build the filter on there, and then that's when things kind of went haywire. The current went from 30 mils to 80, which I don't want. I want to get it back down to 30. So I think it's a matter of the proper parts and matching, probably. I think tomorrow I'm going to put me a different wire out the antenna. I need to cut me off another 17-foot piece of wire and hang it, because I put my antenna analyzer on that piece of wire tonight, and it resonated not very good. The best I could get was about a 3-to-1, but it was at 10 megahertz instead of 14. So I'm kind of going into a very inefficient, wrong frequency antenna. Maybe if I fix the antenna out there, things might start working a little better too. I'd love to test the tracker with the 20-meter vertical dipole on it, but there's no way to hang that thing up very easily and measure it. If I had a balcony on the 3rd floor or something, I might could do it, but I'm not sure, man.
Hey, Tom?
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat room is asking what your frequency is for the SWL broadcast.
The shortwave broadcast, no, the shortwave broadcast is on 7490. We have moved a couple times. We were on 5130. We moved to 6160, and then we moved to 7490. 7490 is the frequency, and that transmitter gets out really well up there out of Maine, out of Monticello, Maine. So, hey guys, just what few are still out there, if you're listening to me, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please hit the subscribe button. That helps us, in our rankings. And, hey, I see Glenn Hauser in there. Glenn Hauser, how you doing, man? Glenn Hauser has a shortwave program on WBCQ. Cool, man. I'm so happy to see Glenn in here. He's been on WBCQ for a long time with his shortwave program. And as Glenn says, there's been some scheduling problems. We used to be live on WBCQ, but there were some scheduling problems which kind of bumped us out of 1 hour of a 2-hour slot. And, actually I feel pretty good that we're we're recorded now. Actually, they just pulled that off of our audio podcast, and I don't have to do anything. But hey, good to see you in there, Glenn Hauser. Very good. Hit the subscribe button if you will. We're new to this YouTube deal. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the little bell there. That bell will notify you when we come live, come up live, and that will help you. And hit the likes. Hit the like there, because the more likes we get, the better rating, the higher rating we get in YouTube. And the higher rating that we get in YouTube, they get the video out where more people see it, on the side there. We don't monetize our show in any way. We don't make any money on YouTube. We've never monetized the show. And we're going to continue to do that. Let's see. All right. So we've got about 3 minutes till our show turns off on shortwave. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight in the chat room, and whoever's still left with us. Alan, you're staying up awful late there in New Jersey, man, and you got to go to work tomorrow morning.
I got to get back up for work in the morning, but just to remind everybody, if there's topics that you'd like to hear on the Tech Tip segment, the roundtable here, you can certainly shoot me an email, w2aew@arrl.net. I'll compile a list and see how many of them we can get to. But I'd much rather hear and talk about what you want to hear, and not just talk about topics that interest me. So certainly let me know what you'd like to hear about.
Yeah. So shoot them an email. And hey, thanks, man. Looking forward to next week to see what you might have for us next week. Now, I know you're in your job now, and you're probably not going to travel as much right now still, right? You're going into the office, but
not doing traveling, but as customer, I'm still doing just a ton of things remotely with customers over Zoom and WebEx and Teams and pick your platform. So
yeah,
but that's just the way it is now. But still keep me quite busy.
Yeah. Okay, well, very good. We'll see you next week there, man. Thanks for sticking around with us so late here. I know this is a late show for you, but
no problem.
We'll survive it, man. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Bill, somebody in the chat room is wondering where they can find the link for those low power meters. Was it on Amazon or eBay?
That was an eBay link.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, no, those were Amazon.
Oh, really?
Amazon.
Okay, I'll check in Amazon. I wrote it down. I thought it looked like a eBay type link, but
no,
okay.
those are both on Amazon. And,
okay, I wrote that down. Yeah.
You search for. I'll post in the chat the title of each one.
All right. Well, as soon as the show ends, people may not see it this chat room goes away when the show ends. The chat room dies. It doesn't stay out there. Post it in our Facebook group. Most everybody follows the Facebook group, so that's a good place to put it.
Yeah,
Okay.
If they don't follow it, it's going to make them follow it.
That's true. Yeah, everybody out there, if you're not on our Facebook group, go to it. It's W5KUB. Actually, it's called Amateur Radio Roundtable, but that's a lot of words. You might not remember that. Just key in W5KUB, and that's the same Facebook group. We've got over 11,000 hams in it. It's not a personal group. It's ham radio only. So we'd love to have you there. All right. Well, we are at the mark where we're going off the air. Good night, everybody out there on shortwave. Thanks for listening. All right. So.